Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming today. So my name is Abhiram. I'm a rising senior at Lindbergh High School. Here at Blue Stamp, I decided to work on the Magic Mirror project, as you can see here. So the reason I chose this project was mainly because it had a mixture of both hardware and software components. The software includes all the modules that I had to configure in order for the monitor to display what it is displaying today. We will project the monitor onto here for a clear description because the acrylic is not completely transparent, so you can't completely see the monitor behind the acrylic. It is translucent in order to be reflective so that it can be used both as a mirror and as a monitor. Along with that, there's also hardware components to this project. As you can see, the frame, and I will get into how I made the frame and what software I used. So for the demo, I would just project my monitor onto the screen so that it's easier for all of you to visually watch what I'm doing. So just a second. So while we wait for that, the Magic Mirror mainly displays important things for your daily lifestyle. So on the top you can see the time, right below which you can see the calendar. I've used both a US holidays calendar and my personal calendar, and I will get into how I synced my personal calendar to the monitor.
Here's what I found.
I'm sorry about that. That is my AI voice assistant. That was one of my modifications, which I'll also be getting into. Here on the right, you can see the current weather as well as the weather forecast. And in the middle is just custom messages, to keep you going throughout your stressful day. Right down below is a news display that shows headlines and refreshes every 2 minutes in order to keep you all updated on what's happening around the world. So technical explanation, or before which I'll demonstrate my AI voice assistant. A quick backstory. I'm a big fan of Marvel and I do like Iron Man a lot, and he had an AI model called Jarvis, which is the inspiration for my AI model here. So you can ask it any questions, so anyone wants to ask my AI voice assistant a question. Okay.
Ask it why the sky is blue.
Jarvis, why is the sky blue?
According to NASA's space place, sunlight reaches Earth's atmosphere and is scattered in all directions by all the gases and particles in the air. Blue light is scattered more than the other colors because it travels at shorter, smaller waves. This is why we see a blue sky most of the time.
So the next thing I added was my personal calendar. So I use an iPhone so for me to sync my personal calendar onto the Magic Mirror operating software, I had to create an app-specific ID for the calendar itself and use a software called Reader Syncer, which grabs all the information from my calendar through iCloud and displays it here on the screen. And another modification I added was the motion detection sensor, which is a small camera over here. So basically what it does is when it does not detect, I'll show it to you again, it's a small camera here. So basically what it does is when it does not detect motion for about a set period of time, which I mentioned in my code, the display will automatically shut off and will detect for further motion before it turns on. This is a great way to conserve power that is being consumed by the Magic Mirror. As of right now, on the projector itself, I cannot demonstrate this, but when I do disconnect the projector and connect it back to my monitor, it works perfectly. So some challenges that I faced while building this project. So I had both hardware and software challenges. Hardware challenges, as mentioned by Sarah, was actually custom creating the specs for this 3D frame that I made. So I had to use a software called Onshape, which I've never used before, and it took me a lot of time to really adapt to the new environment. And it took me a lot of time to actually master that skill before I could produce this. So it took me a lot of time to actually understand how each component works, and I was able to create a 3D model of what I wanted my frame to look like, and I turned it in for 3D printing. In terms of software, one major issue I faced was after I configured my Raspberry Pi, the SD card, there was a syntax error that I had in my long line of code, like 800 lines, and I did not know which error it was. After hours of troubleshooting, we weren't able to figure out what the error was, so we had to completely wipe out the SD card, due to which I lost all of my progress, and I had to restart again. Another problem I had software-wise was a glitch in my AI voice assistant, which is why I was rushing in and out here earlier, and I got it working all of a sudden. I think it was just a glitch, and now it's working fine, so that was another problem that I had. Moving forward after Bluestamp, I am really interested in exploring hardware. So the peers that I worked with had a lot of projects based off Arduino and C, C++, languages that I've never used before. So I'm really interested in exploring all of that hardware part of engineering, and I want to enrich my knowledge in other programming languages such as C, C++. Thank you so much for listening to me today. Any questions?